He held my hand and whispered, "I can't wait to spend forever with you." 2 weeks later I found his text to his ex. He called it closure. I called it betrayal. What I did next changed his life forever. My name is Mary. And for a long time I believed I was living the kind of life people envy. I was 27 with a career I was proud of. I had just moved into a cozy townhouse that smelled like lavender and fresh paint. My family was supportive, my friends were loyal, and above all, I was engaged to Jason. Jason was the man everyone loved. My parents, my coworkers, even my dog wagged its tail a little harder when he walked in. He was sweet, attentive, and just unpredictable enough to keep things exciting. He brought me sunflowers when I had a rough day, remembered every little thing I liked, and would drive across town just to bring me my favorite ice cream during my period. We had been together for 3 years. And now we were 2 weeks away from our wedding. Everything was planned. The invitations had gone out. The dresses were altered. The seating chart had been redone at least 5 times to keep my divorced aunt and uncle from starting another war. Our honeymoon was booked. 10 days in Santorini. Ocean views. Sunsets. Just the two of us. Looking back, it's strange how life feels perfect. Right before it completely unravels. I remember the night I first felt it. The quiet, gnawing feeling that something was off. Jason had started coming home later than usual. He said work was just crazy, and his boss was riding everyone hard before the quarter closed. I believed him. Why wouldn't I? But then he started locking his phone. Jason never used to care. We'd use each other's phones all the time. I'd play music from his Spotify when I cooked, or he'd send messages for me if my hands were full. Now he kept it face down. And one night he took it to the bathroom with him. I stared at the closed door. I don't know why my stomach dropped. Maybe because I already knew. But I didn't want to believe it. So I told myself I was overthinking. That wedding stress was making me paranoid. That Jason, my Jason, would never hurt me. But the lies only last so long. 4 days later I found his tablet on the kitchen counter while he was out for groceries. I needed it to check a Pinterest board for the wedding centerpieces. He had left it unlocked. And there was a string of messages. Dozens. Between Jason and his ex. I froze. My hand gripped the tablet like it had turned to stone. She said things like, "Last night brought back memories." And he said, "Maybe we needed this before I move forward." I scrolled and scrolled. My throat went dry. He said he missed her. He said she made him feel alive again. He said he wasn't sure if he was ready to give her up. Tears blurred my eyes. My breath came in short, shallow waves. I remember grabbing the edge of the counter just to steady myself. I didn't scream. I didn't throw the tablet. I just stood there, stunned. The man I was about to marry had slept with his ex 2 weeks before our wedding. And I wouldn't have known if he hadn't left that tablet behind. When Jason got home, he noticed my silence. Asked if I was okay. I looked him in the eye and I asked, "Did you see her again?" He blinked. Then his face shifted. Guilt. Regret. Panic. All in one twisted flash. He didn't deny it. Didn't try to lie. He said it didn't mean anything. He said it was closure. That he just needed to be sure before marrying me. That now he knew I was the one. I felt like I had been slapped. I asked him to leave. Right there. That moment. I didn't yell. I didn't throw things. I just whispered, "Get out." He tried to talk. Tried to explain. But I walked into the bedroom, shut the door, and waited until I heard the front door click shut. Then I collapsed. I cried like I hadn't cried since my father's funeral. It wasn't just heartbreak. It was betrayal. Humiliation. Rage. And something even deeper. Grief. Because I wasn't just losing Jason. I was losing everything I thought I knew. The wedding. The dream. The forever I had built in my head. And that night, as I sat on the edge of my bed staring at the wall, I made a decision. I wasn't going to be the broken girl crying at the altar. I wasn't going to pretend everything was okay. And I definitely wasn't going to let Jason walk away without feeling the consequences. He wanted closure. I was going to give him a reality check he'd never forget. But I couldn't do it alone. First, I had to tell my family. And that's when things got even more complicated than I ever expected. Few were in my shoes. What would you have done? Would you still go through with the wedding? Or cancel everything? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. Also, where are you watching from? Drop your city or country below. Let's see how far this story travels. I thought canceling the wedding would be the hardest part. But when I told my mom, she begged me not to do it. Not because she wanted me to be happy, but because she had a secret. A secret that could destroy everything. I didn't sleep that night. My head kept spinning with questions I didn't want to ask. How long had it been going on? Why did he come back to me at all? And the worst one, was any of it ever real? The next morning I got up, washed my face and stared at myself in the mirror. My eyes were swollen. My lips cracked. But I didn't feel weak. I felt awake. I picked up my phone and called my mom. She answered on the second ring, cheerful and excited, probably expecting updates on final wedding prep. But the moment she heard my voice, she knew something was wrong. I found out Jason cheated, I said flatly. With his ex. Last week. There was silence. Long, heavy. Then she said, Harry, no. And I broke. She told me to come over and I did. My dad was out running errands, which I was grateful for. I couldn't handle both of them at once. I sat at the kitchen table, numb, while she made tea like it was a normal Tuesday morning. She placed the mug in front of me, sat down and reached across the table for my hand. I'm so sorry, she whispered. I know how much you loved him. I was going to cancel the wedding, I said. I still am. That's when she paused. Her hand tensed over mine. Are you sure that's what you want? She asked slowly. I looked up, confused. Of course it is. He cheated. She hesitated again. Her eyes flicked toward the hallway. She dropped her voice. I just think you should think very carefully, she said. Don't make a decision you'll regret later. People make mistakes. Mistakes. I snapped. He slept with someone else, Mom. That's not a mistake, that's a choice. She didn't answer. Just looked away. And then, something changed in her eyes. Like guilt had crawled out of her soul and was sitting on her face. There's something you should know, she whispered. I narrowed my eyes. What do you mean? I wasn't going to tell you. I never planned to. But if you're walking away from Jason, you deserve to know the truth. My stomach dropped. Mom, what are you talking about? She took a shaky breath. And then she said it. Your father, he cheated on me. The year you turned 13. I blinked. What? I found out, she said. He had an affair. A woman he worked with. I sat back stunned. You never told me. I didn't want you and your brother to see him differently. I forgave him. We worked through it. My mouth was dry. I didn't know what to say. Then she looked me in the eyes. And she said the part that stung the most. Sometimes love is bigger than betrayal. Sometimes you have to fight for what you built, even if it's broken. I stared at her, feeling like the air had been sucked out of the room. Are you telling me to forgive him? I asked. Because you did? I'm saying don't burn your whole future because of one mistake, she said. Jason loves you. He just lost his way. I shook my head. No. He lost me. I stood up and walked out before she could say another word. On the drive home I couldn't stop crying. Not because of Jason, but because of my mom. She had hidden that part of her life. Buried it. Smiled through it. And now she was telling me to do the same. But I wasn't her. And I wasn't going to marry a man I couldn't trust. The next few days were chaos. I had to call the wedding planner. I had to tell my bridesmaids. I had to explain to guests why the wedding was suddenly off. Some were supportive. Others were nosy. But one message stood out. It was from Jason's sister, Rachel. She texted me privately. I'm so sorry. You didn't deserve this. If you ever need to talk, I'm here. I hesitated. Then I called her. And what she told me next made my blood run cold. Rachel's voice was quiet when she said it. There's something you need to know about Jason. And I didn't want to be the one to tell you. But now, I think you deserve the truth. I was sitting on my living room floor, surrounded by half-packed wedding decor and unopened gifts that now felt like cruel jokes. The room was dead silent, but my heart was pounding so loud it felt like the walls could hear it. I asked, "What truth?" She hesitated. Then she said, "You're not the first one he's done this to." My breath caught. "What do you mean?" I asked, even though I already had a sinking feeling I knew exactly what she meant. "He was engaged once before you," Rachel said. Her name was Elise. It was about 5 years ago. They broke it off just 2 weeks before the wedding too, because she found out he cheated on her. My stomach turned. This couldn't be real. Jason had never told me he'd been engaged before. He said I was the first woman he ever truly saw a future with. That he had waited his whole life to meet someone like me. "He never mentioned her," I whispered. Rachel sighed. "I figured. He doesn't like to talk about it." But Elise was devastated. "He cut ties with everyone, even me. And honestly, I think she knew more than she ever told me. She said once that Jason wasn't just unfaithful, he was careless. Reckless. Like he didn't think about the damage he caused until it was too late." The room started spinning. I stood up, pacing. I needed air. I opened the back door and walked into the small garden Jason and I had planted together. The herbs were starting to wilt. Just like everything else. "There's more," Rachel said after a pause. My chest tightened. "Tell me." "Last week, before everything blew up, I got a message on Instagram. From a girl named Kira. She said she'd been seeing Jason. Casually. She didn't know he was engaged. But then she found his profile. Saw your photos. And..." I closed my eyes. "Please no." "She thinks she might be pregnant," Rachel finished quietly. I nearly dropped my phone. "Pregnant?" I choked. "Yeah," she said. "She hasn't confirmed anything yet. She's still waiting on test results. But she said she felt sick about it. That she didn't want to cause drama, but she thought you should know." I sat down on the garden bench, shaking. My world had already been shattered. Now someone was digging through the rubble and setting it on fire. He wasn't just a cheater. He was a liar. A serial manipulator. No. There might be a child. I thanked Rachel for telling me and we ended the call. Then I sat there in the garden for what felt like hours. My mind flashed through every moment. Every kiss. Every, "I love you." Every plan we made. Was it all a lie? How could someone pretend to love me like that while living a double life? And then, something inside me changed. I was done crying. Done hiding. Done letting shame keep me quiet. If Jason thought he could cheat, lie, and walk away while I disappeared into heartbreak, he had another thing coming. It was time to flip the script. The next morning, I called the venue and officially canceled the wedding. They tried to convince me to reschedule or take a partial refund. I told them to keep it. Then I made a list. Florist. Caterer. Photographer. The makeup artist. I called every single one and told them the wedding was off. Some of them tried to charge cancellation fees. Others were sympathetic. But I didn't flinch. I was reclaiming my life. One painful call at a time. Then I called Jason. He picked up on the second ring. "Mary," he said, his voice low and hesitant. "I was hoping you'd call. I need to explain." "I don't want your explanation," I cut in. "I just want you to know that the wedding is canceled. Officially. Everything is off. You'll be receiving invoices soon. The balance is yours." He stammered. "Wait, what? You're sending me the bills?" "Yes," I said calmly. "All of them. You broke this. You pay for it." "Mary, please," he said. "Can we talk about this in person? Did you cheat on Elise too?" I asked. Silence. "How many others have there been?" I continued. "Or should I just start calling them all and asking?" "I made a mistake," he finally said. "But I love you. I chose you." "Then you should have acted like it," I said. "Don't contact me again. Ever." And I hung up. That night I made one final decision. Instead of wasting my dress, my venue, and all the effort I had poured into this day, I turned it into something unforgettable. I called my closest friends and told them to come to the venue on the original wedding date. No tuxedos, no formal wear. Just real people, real stories, and one big celebration of freedom. I hosted a healing party. The DJ played breakup anthems. We danced under the lights that were supposed to illuminate my first dance as a bride. We toasted not to love, but to self-respect, to survival, to women who rise from the ashes. And when people asked why I looked so peaceful, I just smiled and said, because I finally know what I deserve. What would you do if you found out your fiancé had not just cheated, but might have a baby on the way with someone else? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you've ever had to take your power back after betrayal, share your story below. You never know who might need to hear it. Also, where are you watching from? I love seeing where all these powerful stories travel. The night of the healing party was perfect. I felt free. Until I got a message from an unknown number. One line. You think it's over? You have no idea what he's capable of. I read the message over and over again. I stared at the screen, my fingers frozen above the keyboard. The number wasn't saved in my phone. No name. No profile picture. Just that message. 10 words that sent a chill down my spine. I tried to stay calm. I took a breath, stood up, walked to the kitchen, poured myself a glass of water. But my hands were trembling. Who sent that? And what did they mean? I called Rachel. If anyone would know something, it was her. She picked up on the first ring. Mary? You okay? I told her about the message. She went silent. Then she said something that made my stomach twist. It's probably Kira. The girl who thinks she's pregnant? I asked. Yes. She's scared. She said Jason was acting weird after she told him. Like he was trying to scare her into silence. What do you mean? She told me he threatened her. Said if she ruined his life, he'd ruin hers. I felt like I couldn't breathe. The man I almost married was threatening women into silence? What if I hadn't found out? What if I had married him, built a life with him, and never known who he truly was? I looked down at my phone. I still hadn't replied to the message. But now I knew I had to. Meek, who is this? Unknown number. Someone who's been hurt by him too. Meek, Kira? Unknown number. Yes. She finally admitted it. And then she told me everything. Kira met Jason at a bar downtown. She said he was charming, attentive, made her feel special. But things turned dark fast. He was possessive, moody. When she told him about the pregnancy scare, he flipped. He said, "This can't happen. You don't get to ruin my life over one stupid mistake." She cried. He told her no one would believe her. That she was nothing. He offered her money to disappear. But I don't want his money, she wrote to me. I just want him to stop hurting people. I thought you should know what he's really like. And that's when it hit me. I wasn't just a victim in his story. I was a piece of his pattern. And I wasn't going to let him keep doing it. The next morning I did something bold. Something the old me would have never had the courage to do. I posted my story online. Not out of revenge, but out of truth. Out of warning. I wrote, 2 weeks before my wedding, I found out my fiancé was cheating. But what I didn't expect was how deep his lies went. I discovered I wasn't his first. And I wasn't the only one. If you know a man named Jason T. This is your sign to run. Within hours the post blew up. Hundreds of likes, comments, and DMs. From women, strangers, people I had never met. I dated him 2 years ago. He lied constantly. He ghosted me after I told him I wanted something serious. He told me he loved me, then disappeared. There were more than 5 messages from different women. Same name. Same pattern. Same pain. And suddenly I realized something horrifying. Jason had been getting away with this for years. Just moving from woman to woman. Playing innocent. Leaving scars. And never looking back. But now he'd picked the wrong woman to betray. 2 days later, Jason showed up at my house. Yes, you heard me right. I opened the front door and there he was. Standing on my porch like nothing had happened. "Mary," he said, eyes pleading. "Can we talk?" "No," I said immediately. "Leave. Please," he begged. It was a mistake. I panicked. I didn't know how to fix it. Which part was the mistake? I snapped. Sleeping with your ex? Or threatening a girl who might be carrying your child? His face changed. "You talked to her?" he asked. I nodded. And Elise. And about 5 other women. He went pale. You ruined my life, he muttered. I laughed. No. You did that all by yourself. And then I said something I never thought I'd say. You need help, Jason. Not a wedding. Not another girlfriend. Help. He looked at me like I had stabbed him in the chest. You're crazy, he whispered. You've turned everyone against me. No, I said. You did that by lying. Cheating. Manipulating. I just gave people the chance to compare notes. He didn't say another word. He just turned and walked away. For good. That night I sat alone on my couch, surrounded by the quiet. It was peaceful. No wedding countdown. No fake apologies. No more pretending. Just me. Stronger. Wiser. Free. And I thought back to what my mother said, that sometimes love is bigger than betrayal. But now I know, sometimes self-love is bigger than any love that ever tried to destroy you. Her name was Alana. And the first thing she sent me was a photo. It was Jason. Smiling. Arm around a young woman in a white coat, standing beside a university banner. I thought you should see this, her message said. As I was his student. And he was my professor. My heart stopped. What? I stared at the photo. Jason was a guest lecturer at the local university. He told me it was just a few times a year. Nothing serious. But now here was a girl barely 22 telling me they'd had a relationship. Wait. You dated him while he was teaching you? Alana. Yes. Alana. I was naive. I thought he really loved me. Alana. But when I started asking for more, he ghosted me. Alana. And then I found out about you. I felt sick. Jason was abusing his authority. Dating students? Disappearing on them? Was there no line this man wouldn't cross? He told me they met after class. He offered her mentorship. Told her she was brilliant. Different from the others. Sound familiar? That was his thing. Make you feel like the only woman in the world. Then vanish when it no longer served him. But what Alana sent me next. It was bigger than cheating. Bigger than lies. It was evidence. Screenshots. Emails. A timeline. Even a voice memo where Jason admitted he had a tendency to get bored and liked to test boundaries. In his own voice. I listened to it 3 times just to be sure. I mean, yeah, maybe I cross lines sometimes. But who doesn't? People are too sensitive these days. You can't even flirt anymore without someone freaking out. I was stunned. And angry. So angry. This wasn't just about me anymore. This was about all the women he had hurt. Manipulated. Used. Discarded. Suddenly, I knew exactly what I had to do. The next morning I made a new post. Not on my personal page. But on a public platform. With screenshots. Blurred names. Masked voices. And a warning. This man has a pattern. He doesn't just cheat, he grooms, manipulates, and discards. He preys on younger women. Students. Friends. This isn't gossip. This is proof. If you've been hurt by Jason T., speak up. You're not alone. I hit post. And then I waited. It took less than 3 hours for the post to explode. Thousands of views. Hundreds of comments. But the most shocking part? Other women started coming forward too. One said he ghosted her after 3 months of dating. Another said he pressured her into things she wasn't comfortable with. One woman even said she filed a report against him at her university. But nothing happened. Till now. Because within 24 hours, the university launched an investigation. Yes, you heard that right. Jason had always thought he was untouchable. That his charm and his good looks could get him out of anything. But now, he was trending for all the wrong reasons. Rachel called me the next night. Mary, she said breathlessly. It's working. He's panicking. I smiled. Good. His friends are dropping him. His social pages are locked down. I think he knows it's over. Let it be, I said. Let him sit in it. There was a long pause. Then Rachel said something that made my eyes well up. I'm proud of you. I hadn't cried in days. But that one sentence broke something open in me. Because I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was fighting back. Later that night, I got a message from someone I never expected to hear from. Elise. Yes, his ex-fiancée. The one he left before me. Her message was simple. Thank you for doing what I couldn't. She told me she saw the post. She read the comments. And for the first time in years, she felt free. She had blamed herself for the breakup. For not being enough. But now she saw the truth. It was never about her. It was always about him. We talked for an hour that night. Two women. Same pain. Same scars. Same man. And somehow, it made the healing feel real. Like I wasn't just mending my heart. I was helping others mend too. Have you ever confronted someone who hurt not just you, but others too? Would you have gone public the way Mary did? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Also, tell me where you're watching from. I love seeing this community grow from around the world. Just when I thought it was done. Just when I thought he had finally disappeared. I got a letter. Not a text. Not a DM. A handwritten letter. From Jason. And what he said inside shook me to my core. I found it on my doorstep. A plain white envelope. No return address. Just my name written in sharp, careful letters. Mary. I stared at it for a long time before picking it up. Part of me didn't want to open it. Didn't want to let him back in, not even for a second. But the other part? The part that needed closure? Needed answers? That part begged me to read it. So I sat on my kitchen floor and tore the envelope open. Inside was a single page. And it said this. Mary. By now you probably hate me. I don't blame you. You've shown the world what I tried to hide, and I can't lie anymore, not even to myself. You were the first person who made me want to be better. But I didn't know how. I still don't. I've done things I'm not proud of. I've hurt people who didn't deserve it. I used love like a shield and apologies like a weapon. But when you posted your story and the others followed, something broke inside me. Not because I lost you, but because I realized I never really had you. I was never worthy of you. I don't expect forgiveness. I'm not writing to beg or defend. I'm writing because I need you to know. You changed me. For the first time I'm facing myself. All of it. And maybe, just maybe, that's the start of something real. I'm sorry. I truly am. I stared at the paper for what felt like hours. Rereading the words. Looking for some hidden manipulation. Some veiled attempt to win me back. But it wasn't there. No lies. No charm. Just a guilt. And maybe for the first time, truth. I wanted to be angry. I wanted to tear the letter into pieces and toss it in the fire. I cried. Not for him. For me. For the girl who almost walked down the aisle with a man who wasn't ready to love. For the woman who stood back up when her whole world fell apart. For every broken piece I'd had to gather just to feel whole again. I called Rachel. Read her the letter. She was silent for a long time. Then she said, "It sounds like he finally hit rock bottom. Do you think he means it?" I asked. "I don't know," she replied. "But whether he does or not, it doesn't change what you had to go through." And she was right. His apology wasn't a magic eraser. It didn't undo the betrayal. It didn't take away the heartbreak. But it gave me something I didn't expect. Closure. Later that week, I got a call from the university. They'd finished the investigation. Jason was permanently banned from guest lecturing or attending any student events. His name was quietly removed from their faculty directory. No drama. No headlines. But it was done. Finally. Then something beautiful happened. My post, the one that started it all, it became more than a warning. It became a space for healing. Other women started sharing their stories. Stories of betrayal. Of surviving narcissists. Of walking away when it hurt the most. And slowly the comment section turned into a community. People messaged me just to say, "Thank you." One girl wrote, "I was going to stay with him, even after he cheated. But your story, it gave me courage." Another said, "I thought I was the only one. You saved me." I cried again that night. Because even in my darkest moments, something good came out of it. Light found its way through the cracks. Weeks passed. No more letters. No more sightings. Jason disappeared from my life like a shadow fading at sunrise. I started living again. I took a solo trip to the coast. Wrote in my journal every morning. Laughed with. It was a rainy Thursday afternoon. I was working from home sipping tea when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something, curiosity, instinct, made me answer. Hello. The voice on the other end was older. Kiki. Soft but urgent. Is this Mary? Yes. There was a pause. Then she said, I'm Jason's mother. My breath caught. I had never spoken to her. Never even met her. Jason always avoided talking about his family, said they were complicated. Now, months after everything, she was calling me? Ma'am. I said carefully. Why are you calling? And then she said the words I'll never forget. I'm worried. I think Jason might hurt you. For a moment I couldn't speak. She told me Jason hadn't been well. That he'd been spiraling. Losing jobs, fighting with friends, blaming everyone for what happened. But mostly, she said, he blames you. My chest tightened. I tried to get him help, she said. Therapy, medication. Nothing worked. And now he's saying things. Scary things. He thinks you ruined his life. I swallowed hard. Why tell me this now? Because I don't want to be the mother of a monster. And I don't want you to be his next mistake. My hands were shaking. I thanked her, hung up, and locked every door in my apartment. That night I barely slept. I kept replaying her voice, her warning. And I started noticing things. A car parked across the street for too long. A shadow in the hallway. Footsteps when no one should be there. I told myself it was paranoia. But deep down I knew. Jason wasn't done. 3 nights later, everything came crashing down. I was walking to my car after dinner with Rachel. We'd parked on a quiet side street. I was steps away from the driver's side when I heard it. Mary. I turned and there he was. He looked different. Thinner. Worn. Eyes wild. He stepped toward me fast. I froze. Jason, what are you? You ruined my life, he growled. Do you know what you did to me? What they're saying about me? My heart was pounding. Stay away from me. I shouted, backing up. But he kept coming. You think you're better than me? Posting lies. Turning everyone against me. You were supposed to be mine. Then I saw it. In his hand. A knife. Everything stopped. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't move. But suddenly shouting. Tires screeching. Rachel had called the police the second she saw him. They swarmed in, sirens blazing, tackled him to the ground before he could get close. I fell to my knees, shaking. It was over. He tried to kill me. The police found disturbing things in his car. A journal filled with hateful entries about me. Photos. Printouts of my social media. And worst of all, an old photo of me and Jason slashed down the middle with the words, "She'll regret this." That night, Jason was arrested. Charged with attempted murder. And a judge denied him bail. His trial made headlines. The same man who once charmed everyone he met. Now exposed for the manipulative, dangerous person he truly was. Witnesses came forward. Lana testified. So did Elise. Me. I stood in court face to face with the man who nearly destroyed me. And I told my story. All of it. He was sentenced to 12 years in prison. People say justice isn't always served. But that day, it was. Emotional reflection. Audience connection. After the trial, I visited the ocean again. Same spot I went to when I was trying to find peace. But this time it wasn't about healing. It was about celebrating. Because I survived. I didn't let him break me. Didn't let his lies become my truth. Didn't let the fear win. And if you're watching this, if you've ever been manipulated, betrayed, or made to feel small, let me say this loud and clear. You are not weak. You are not foolish. You are not alone. You are stronger than the storm. And your voice, it matters. If you've ever walked away from someone toxic, tell me in the comments. Let this video be a space for healing. Tell me where you're watching from too, so I can send love across every city, every country. Do well to subscribe, you don't want to miss the next story.